In Season of the Chosen, Dreaming City weapons and armour were made relevant once again, with the Shattered Throne dungeon dropping up-to-date armour and weapons. Well, today I'm going to show you how to get easy Dreaming City dungeon loot, including up to 24 dungeon drops per week, without having to complete the Shattered Throne dungeon at all. If you're new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. And if you like what you see, it'd be great if you could hit that thumbs up too. So I want to give a shout out to Raid Secrets and Reddit user Stormcaller OP for originally bringing this to everyone's attention. There does look like a bug at the moment, so it will likely be patched at some point in the future. But as I mentioned in the intro, what we're going to be able to do is get up to 24 dungeon drops per week across 3 characters. And this means we're going to be able to get high stat armour and rolls of Dreaming City weapons, and there's some really good ones in there, and that includes some exclusive perks. So before we go into the method for how to get the drops, let's have a look at the loot available. So we've got Waking Vigil. It's a legendary energy hand cannon, one of the better hand cannons in the game in the previous sandbox, and it's worth hunting down a good roll in case the sandbox shifts in the future. And for PvP, Killing Wind and Snapshot Sights would be really good, and PvE, Outlaw and Kill Clip would be a good one to look out for. We've also got the Retold Tail, so it's a legendary energy shotgun, precision frame, and the weapon's recoil pattern is much more predictably vertical. And for PvP, Slide Shot and Snapshot Sights, and PvE, Quick Draw and Vorpal Weapon would be really good, or maybe even 1-2 punch. We've also got Sleepless, so this is a legendary power rocket launcher, high impact frame, so it's slow firing and high damage, and this weapon is more accurate when stationary and aiming down sights. For PvP, Tracking and Wellspring would be really good, and for PvE, Field Prep and Vorpal Weapon would be good, with Vorpal Weapon being a dungeon exclusive perk. We also have the Vouchsafe, and that is a legendary energy scout rifle, and that one is a lightweight frame, so it's got superb handling and you move faster with the weapon equipped. So for PvP, Killing Wind and Eye of the Storm would be good, whereas for PvE, Rapid Hit and Explosive Payload would be a decent roll to look out for. So we've also got the Reverie Dawn armour sets, and they can roll with plus 60 stats, and that'll come in very handy indeed. But next up, let's have a look at how to get the multiple drops. So what we want to do is go and find Petra Venge, and she is the quest giver, or the NPC on the Dreaming City. And you can find Petra Venge on the Dreaming City map. Just be aware she does move around every week at reset, but she's normally in one of 3 places. And what you want to do is look out for the bounties which reward legendary gear. So she's got a couple of weekly bounties, one of which is the week's Ascendant Challenge, and then some daily bounties. So one of the daily bounties has legendary gear, and one of the weekly bounties does too. So that means you can do the daily bounties every day to claim 1 piece of free dungeon gear via the Shattered Throne dungeon, and then the weekly one, which means 8 dungeon drops per week per character. So once you've picked up the bounties and completed them, you'll then want to head into the Shattered Throne dungeon. So given you're in the dungeon, when you turn in the bounties, the game is going to think that these rewards need to be dungeon drops, and you are going to be rewarded accordingly. So you don't have to complete the dungeon, you simply have to fly into the dungeon and turn in the bounties at the start to get dungeon level drops. And you can repeat this as much as you want per week to get as much loot as possible from the Dreaming City. Well, this unfortunately doesn't work on the moon with the Pit of Heresy, so I would take advantage of this as much as possible to get high stat rolled armour and relevant Dreaming City weapons. So Sleepless is a very good rocket launcher, and I think this is the only one in the game that has Vorpal Weapon on it at the moment, so it's well worth looking out for that roll. Waking Vigil is a classic hand cannon, and it's always going to be worth having a great energy hand cannon, although the Palindrome is much more popular at the moment. The Waking Vigil is definitely going to have its time once again, so I would say it's worth getting a decent roll of this weapon. So as a recap, you just have to pick up the bounties from Petra Venge, complete the bounties as normal, but don't turn them in until you get into the Shattered Throne dungeon. And you don't have to complete the dungeon itself, you just have to fly into the dungeon and complete those bounties that reward legendary gear, and they will be dungeon level drops. Well, let me know what you think of this down in the comments, and let me know what loot you got. And that is it for this guide for easy Dreaming City dungeon loot in Destiny 2. And as always, thank you so much for watching. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. If you want to join the community, check out the Discord link in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks again. See you soon.